Welcome back once again to Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. I am, as always, Chat Show. Hey, thanks for stopping by on your Sunday. Is this the first Sunday of the NFL? So we're on a tape delay. A lot of you are getting us after the fact. I think there are only 71,000 people watching live in the chat room. We've been away for a few weeks. I was off in Birmingham, Alabama. Here today, it's 79 degrees. In Birmingham, Alabama, when I was there, it was 1987. We're not buffering. Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. AJ Michalka, this kid, this actress, this singer, she is ridiculous, incredibly talented. Very excited for her and the film.
I think Negrin's dating her.
Brad Silverman, she's only 21, so Negrin's already on that, as it were. One of our producers, Josh Negrin.
Classy.
Yeah, real classy. So that was fun. And so we missed you terribly. Hope you've been well. Hope your summer ended nicely. And you celebrated the Labor Day. Okay. Today's show, by the way, brought to you by HollywoodPoker.com. HollywoodPoker.com. Beta testing now. If you go to HollywoodPoker.com, you can check out the site. It's play for free, your poker on the interwebs. If you've been watching ESPN's coverage of the World Series of Poker, you've seen me just a little. All right. Yep, still in it. This Tuesday, I think, was the first half of day 5, and I'm still there. It was shot 3 weeks ago, as you know, if you're watching. But exciting things to come on day 5. I'm not going to say anything more in case you're watching. And then I'm going to go to the final table, the end of October, where the final 9 is live for 2 days, and I'm just going to go and hang out. I'm not telling you whether I'm at the table or not. All right, you already know. Yeah, I'm just going to go in the booth and shoot some shit for a while. So HollywoodPoker.com was my sponsor into the World Series of Poker, and they were very excited with how things went, that I lasted beyond early day 4 when you hit the cash. Crazy cash. They give you money. It's cool. So you'll see how that turns out, and I want to thank them. So go to HollywoodPoker.com. They're beta testing now. You sign up early, you get things. It's a play-for-free site like you do on the Zynga with the Facebook. That's all I'm going to tell you for now. Are you watching us on Hulu? Then shut the fuck up. Check us out. The whole library there is on the Hulu.com. There's also a big banner on our homepage. They keep pushing me to mention this. If you're on your way to Amazon.com, say you're already on your way. People are always writing us at contact@KevinPollacksChatShow.com. Hey, Kev, fucker, how do I support your show, your stupid thing? We have sponsors, as you've checked out with us in the past. We appreciate that. But in the meantime, if you're on your way to Amazon.com already, how about clicking through our homepage? Yeah, there's a banner. And just by clicking that, look at that, top of the page, those of you watching. You click on that, takes you right to the Amazon.com, and you do the rest of your shopping. It costs you 3 seconds of your life, and they will send us 3 cents. So, thank you.
That'll make one show.
Yeah. So there you go. There's the business at hand. Write us reviews on the iTunes. Keep in touch with us. Write to us at contact@KevinPollacksChatShow.com. We've got some of your emails coming up. But first, Sam Levine, where's...
Apparently he's working.
Sam Levine is in Philadelphia, PA, working on a television program called Do No Harm for the National Broadcasting Company. It's a mid-season, comes on
the Peacock, right?
February. It is the Peacock. It's the peeps with the Peacock. So he's not here. We asked him to Skype in. He said, "Who's this?" Because he's on a television show now.
He's big now. He doesn't need this anymore.
Yeah. And Jamie, what do you have to report? You have some video we're gonna bring people to the homepage so they can vote?
I star in this video. And Elaine wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
Elaine, who does our social media, and Samantha, who does makeup, did some excellent special effects makeup and made me look, pretty.
It has something to do with our guest today, your efforts with this video.
It does.
Yes.
AMC is running a contest for this is a video begging Dish Network to bring back AMC. So fans were supposed to make like a little commercial.
And people need to go and watch the video and then vote.
Yes, you have
And
to
the
vote
winner,
for us.
What does the winner get?
I think they're going to air it on AMC, and then the Jimmy who shot the thing gets like a fancy new camera.
Jimmy the director, Jimmy Ewing.
Yeah, Jim Ewing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they'll send him a camera and they'll put the video if you guys win.
Yes.
So go to talenthouse.com is the name of the, we're going to throw the site up if we didn't already, and check out the video.
Elaine she directed it. Elaine directed it as well.
Oh, yeah, Elaine Ewing wants everyone to know that
she wrote and directed it.
She helped Jimmy direct it, co-directed. There it is, there's the video. So yeah, check it out, please, and vote for it. I had a director once tell me, I said, you remember the Academy of the Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, how do you vote? He says, I vote for my friends. I said, really? You don't depends on the best movies? Nope, I vote for my friends. I don't fucking care anymore. What's best, what should win. I vote for the people I know and like. Whether they have a chance to win or not, I want to support them, and that's how we did. I thought, yeah, that's fantastic. I wish I thought that way. I think that's it. Subscribe to the iTunes. Oh, tomorrow, I go in and record the audiobook. The audiobook of my my first tome called How I Slept My Way to the Middle. You've heard me talk about it a few times. It doesn't come out till the beginning of November. Going to do a big PR push. Today's Show, Conan, and all that crap. So, well, I'll tell you more about it then. But tomorrow I go in and record the audiobook. I get to do my own.
Are you going to describe the pictures, the drawings, and the cartoons?
Never mind you.
Page 3.
On page 3.
That's me with a big dog.
Yeah.
Page 4.
You know what? I might do
Sorry.
that. Yeah, no, you're not wrong. I should do that. That's me with the big dog. Even though there's no photos of me with a dog, I'm going to say,
It's a coloring
I
book.
think it's good that we fuck with people like that. All right, we ask you to write into contact at kevinpollexchatshow.com. You're kind enough to be in the chat room with us. This is an Ask Kevin. If only there was some sort of graphic that we could cut to.
Ask Kevin.
What's up? Interesting. This is from Steve of Portland, Oregon, who writes, I really enjoyed your episode of Dinner for Five. Do you have any amusing memories of its taping or stories that may hit the editing room floor? May have hit. Rod Steiger looked ready to punch someone. Please have Dave Keckner back on a show for no other reason than to get him to play Tweet 5 after his own intro, I'll be fucking myself now. Yes, there's clearly a regular viewer of the show who knows that that's how I like to address our fans as a sign-off. Dinner for Five, the Johnny Favreau show, who I did that favor for by appearing on his show, Dinner for Five, twice, and yet can't get him here at the table.
Interesting.
Interesting how that
He's a bigwig now.
full circle doesn't work. I remember calling him Friday night, when the Iron Man opened.
I remember that.
Yeah, and his whole life was about to change, and I called him, and he actually picked up the phone. And I said, and I was just, everyone was just so blown away. Someone finally figured out how to do one of those damn movies, with heart and humanity and a sense of humor. RDJ, of course, didn't hurt, but him bringing all those things. So anyways, it's amazing how one's life changes, and we'll talk to today's guest about that very thing, because I doing the research, or reading the research that our own J. Mac has done, I was kind of inspired by his take on this exact subject. I comment a couple times in the book. I throw a couple people down for their, let's just say no good deed goes unpunished. And I call a couple of people out for not returning the favor. I just said, fuck it. This guy so needed my help. He got it, and now he's big time, and nothing. Yeah. So Rod Steiger, you mentioned. That fucking nutball was interrupting everyone's story around the table. Sarah Silverman, who else was there at that taping? Every time someone started a story, this fucker would interrupt. I started telling a story, and he's suddenly banging his glass of iced tea with a spoon. That's the time to stir the iced tea, is when I'm talking. Clack, 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 clack. And finally, I just lost it on him and said, are you fucking kidding me? And I can't remember if they left it in or took it out, but there's your editing room floor story. Rod Steiger's insane. How I do KPCS? That's another question we have for you. How do you do the show? Do you take us on the iTunes? Do you down us with a cup of coffee on the Hulu? How are you taking us in? Do you watch us live? This also from Steve from Portland, Oregon. Oh, I love this guy. Kevin and crew, thank you so much for your efforts to entertain us. My laptop is an old iBook G4. Ooh, ouch. It's slow, but it does YouTube just fine, so I've been rating your channel for any episodes I've missed. I sit on my porch with a cigar and an IPA and my 3 dogs, a Newfoundland and 2 Great Pyrenees, smiling as I watch. It is a mini slice of fresh heaven. Ben Schwartz and Robert Kraft are especially outstanding episodes. Please add more from your archives. Thanks again. I'll be getting out of your face now. Steve in Portland, Oregon. Nice. So he sits on his porch and watches on the laptop with the 3 dogs. I see the visual, and the dogs are like the RCA. Instead of the big Victrola, is that what they call it? No.
They're wrapped.
Yeah. They're wrapped, looking at the little laptop from 1987. Thank you, Steve from Portland, Oregon, for both of those. And now the Larry King game. I didn't tell our guest about the Larry King game. Every guest at the end of the show plays the Larry King game for cash prizes. Nope. But we do ask you, the fans, to send in your own Larry King game. If it's selected, we will send you a Kevin Pollak Chat Show t-shirt. That will be in our guest gift bag. So look for one of the people who cleans his pool to be wearing that next week. This is from Graham of Cheshire, or Cheshire, I should say. Cheshire, that's right, in the England. I listened to the podcast whilst molding plastic bottles. God, they hate us doing their accent. Hands-free entertainment is a requisite. Just about all caught up with the archive after my brother Ian, that's not a British name, introduced me to your...
He's overdoing it.
Show. He really
We get it.
Pushing it. Ian from Cheshire. I thought it was about time I showed my hand and played the Larry King game, so here goes. Rules to get the Larry King game for our guest. I want you to reenact that moment that Larry has right before he goes to the phone. So it's a little bumper where he shares a little something about himself that nobody needs to know. And then he goes to the phone. And the name of the city is funny sounding, it's helpful. Yeah. And here is the winning Larry King game for this week. There is nothing. Rule number 1, bad Larry King impression. I forgot to mention that. I don't want a good one. A good one is not funny to me. Bad Larry King impression, fantastic.
And I do this, or you?
Yeah, you'll do it at the end of the show.
Okay, I have to look forward to it.
There is nothing amusing about an anal prolapse. Speaking of which, this isn't the one. No. Is this? Oh no. Oh man. Oh, this is so not the one. There were 2. Look up the other one. J-Mac, can you forward the other one? Because the other one was so great. That's the one I want to do. It involved, and I mentioned it to you, Paul Mazursky. Find the one, Paul Mazursky. Yeah. Go through your email. Put that one back up. We'll come back to that because it was so good. I don't want to do this other one. Fuck him and fuck that. All right. Here it is. I wrote it down. I got it right here. Once after cocaine and Rob Roy fueled night of male bonding, I ate chopped liver off the taint of the great Paul Mazursky. Cletus from Hawkeye, Texas. Your thoughts? That's the Larry King game. There you go. And there's your winner. That's from Ray Simmons, actually. Ian and the other bloke from Cheshire can suck it. They win nothing. Nice try. Try again. No, thanks for watching us from the Cheshire, from the England, and please continue. By way of introduction of my guest today, I will simply say that
you've never heard of it.
Although I was wildly familiar with his work in the comedy world, it was at, I believe, the Aspen Comedy Festival that he did a live version of God recording Robert his audio book. Robert Evans was all the rage around Los Angeles. You had to get your hands on the audio book where Robert Evans read his own book, The Kid Stays in the Picture. So you did a live version of God, which eventually became a sketch on...
Yes, and I also did it on Bill Maher's show.
Oh, you did?
You can watch that on YouTube. It's fun.
Okay, yeah, check it out on YouTube.
You know, it's all, my boy Jesus, I'm proud of you. You got yourself into some hot water, did you? But did I save your ass? No. Would I do it again? In a heartbeat. Just like...
Yeah. If you were familiar with the Bob Evans thing, you know.
There's something about God. It's really fun. I mean,
When I saw it live, I shit myself. It was
Right.
just crazy funny because
proud of the
obviously-
Jews.
Yeah.
Nice job. Are you my favorites? I'm not gonna tell. I've said a few bad things your way,
Right.
but you still follow me.
Yeah.
I love your spunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the idea
Like,
that he
just
was
he
finally
diminished-
sharing, and then that crazy Bob Evans,
Right.
self-appointed, self-anointed.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's really fun to do.
Yeah.
I should have brought more with me. I would have written one up. It's so fun. It's easy to write.
Yeah. Just this God pontificating about his accomplishments.
Westboro Baptist Church. Well, you certainly pray to me a lot, and I appreciate the attention.
Yeah.
Do I agree with all your signs? No, about half of them.
About half of them. Yeah.
Do I hate fags? Well, hate's a strong word. I could do without the two-bed butt fucking. But I love your spirit. You never quit.
Yeah. Jamie, what do you say? Do whatever you want, just keep it off my front lawn? Yeah. Yeah, have freedom all you want, but just keep it off the front lawn, will you, fellas? Don't make me watch. I remember watching it. Would you like some water to follow that?
Hit me with water.
Lovely. Oh, I can bring in another one.
No,
of
too
the
much-
bourbon that was in there. No.
Too much of that is not good for
No,
you.
you gotta drive.
Too
home.
much syrup.
Syrup. Syrup. Okay. First things first.
You know
Last
what that's
Sunday-
from, syrup, right? Lil Wayne. Come on.
Lil Wayne?
You're hooked into that.
No.
Right? I don't know specifically, but like cough syrup is the drug of choice, or was.
I
I don't think anymore. I think it's.
I think it's a very specific.
Thing of the past.
It's tussin, is it not?
Yes, and they call it syrup
Yeah.
in the South,
But how
in
did-
the dirty South.
How did Robitussin?
How did a white
just-
50-year-old man
No syrup.
start using the word syrup? I just
Be more-
makes me laugh.
Be more
funny.
pasty and less aware of anything going on in that world.
Right.
And then go ahead and dip in with a perfect reference. Syrup. How did Robitussin become just tussin, by the way? Because tussin is the
It's
generic.
just-
Tussin's the generic.
Tussin is the actual medicine.
The actual medicine.
Robitussin is a brand, like Kleenex, like facial tissue is Kleenex.
So
Right.
It's like
facial
that.
tissue is to tussin.
No, yes,
and Robitussin
yes,
is to
yes,
Kleenex.
Yes, correct.
So that's crazy.
It's crazy.
But it was part of it, part of the word of the company. That's the part that's throwing me.
Advil is ibuprofen.
Right, but the difference for me, what's blowing my mind is Robitussin. So now you've got.
Oh, you have the
give me
word
a
in
Nex.
it?
Give me a Nex. I need to blow my nose. Not the Kleenex. I just need a Nex.
Right.
Okay, I'm done with this. Last Sunday was the half of the last season.
What is
finale.
that about? What is that whole? It's last season.
Break
we
it up.
don't even shoot the next 8 until November,
Right.
and then we
It's
won't
not on
finish
till
until
June.
February, March. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're calling it one season. There's something I don't ever read any of my contracts.
Right. You're not.
I
you're
don't.
not happy?
You know what it is? It's
Yeah.
one of those SAG things or
Sure.
something. You know, that's really what it is. It's something, or if the network calls it one season,
Right.
they can pay people less. I don't understand it.
Well, they
I
can
don't
s-
really care because I'm happy to be on it. And
It's the greatest job in history. That's
yeah.
the part I want to talk
So
about.
I'm good.
Yeah.
you
But
know. But still, you really nobody thinks it's one season. Nobody's like,
No one's buying it.
I'm in the middle of a season.
Yeah.
When's the next show? It's in 9 months. Yeah, I'll definitely keep that in mind.
I've got the DVR set.
Yeah.
You can program it for 9 months in advance. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
Originally, it was just going to be 2-3 episodes.
Yeah, well, I was told it was 3 or 4 episodes, but I could only do 3. They wanted me for 4. So in the 4th episode of the end of the 2nd season of Breaking Bad, we're talking about Breaking Bad now.
Yeah, we are.
At the end of the 2nd season, they invited me to do this part. It's such a piece of luck, you know. I'm sure you've felt the same thing at times.
Well, you hadn't seen the show, according
I
to the
hadn't
dossier.
seen the show.
You called a friend of
I'd
yours.
seen billboards.
Right, and you called a friend of yours who said.
If they asked me to be on the billboard, I would have known exactly what they were talking about. Would you appear on a billboard for
Right,
a show?
right.
Oh, I've seen those. I'll be in one of those.
Yeah,
But
then-
I'd never seen the show.
And did you read any scripts before you met with
No.
Vince?
I didn't meet with them. I just took it. Here's what happened.
Okay.
I got a call. My agent goes, they're going to offer you this part. You should take it.
Don't say no. This is a good one. Not that I say no all the time, you know.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
you
I
have
like
your-
acting. Acting's fun, you know.
But
Do
you-
it just for fun sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And so I go, okay, Breaking Bad. So I just hang up with him, and I think I've seen the billboards, and somebody's seen this show. I'll call a couple people and ask them. And the first guy I called, my friend Reed Harrison. I don't know if you know Reed. He was a comedy writer.
Yeah.
He goes, oh my God, that's the best show on TV. That's my favorite show. I couldn't stop watching it. This is the second season, so they just started showing the second season. Not that many people had seen the show.
No,
there was
that
only
was-
6 or 7 episodes.
That's when we started first watching it, and
Yeah.
we watched the whole first season, I think, on DVD or something
Yeah.
to catch up.
Last season, not the one that just aired, but the one prior, was the first season that we watched as it aired.
That'd be season 3.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so anyways,
Your friend said
I
it's the
said,
greatest show
sure,
alive.
yes, I'll do it. And then Vince called me, and he's talking to me about it. He goes, it's a sleazy lawyer. I go, that's cool, I can do that. And he goes, his name's Saul Goodman, and he's deals with drugs. I go, wait a second, I'm not Jewish, you know that, right? My wife's Jewish, my kids are Jewish, Jewish, because they're half me.
Sure.
And he goes, oh, he's not Jewish. That's just the name he took to win over the homeboys. He goes, he's Irish. I go, oh, good, I'm half Irish. I can do that.
did he really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I go, look, if you want to hire a Jewish actor, I think you can find one.
Because I didn't get the call.
And so I said, yeah, I'll do it. So then they sent me the script, and you've done way more drama than I've ever done. I'd never done any drama, ever.
Well, that was the thing I found fascinating.
Yeah, I did too. By the way, I thought maybe I show up there and they tell me to go home, that I'm the wrong Bob Odenkirk. I don't know how many Bob Odenkirks there are, but really, Kevin, I really thought that I might land, get to the set, and have somebody go, oh, yeah. What? Yeah, no, I know.
This is
You
not.
talk to
This
him.
is
Yeah.
not.
Listen, wow.
Craziest thing, Bob.
Craziest thing. This character, we're not real sure what we're doing with it.
Yeah.
You head back to LA, we'll call you. You know what I mean?
Get some rewrites.
Really. And so whatever, I showed up. But my issue was when I got the script, and then I watched a little bit on the plane. I didn't watch every episode.
You watched the first couple? Because they're the hardest to get through.
I watched 15 minutes just to get the tone of it, right?
And the tone probably blew your mind.
It did blow my mind.
Literally.
I know, it was so intense.
Yeah. It's really
It was
dark
so
and intense.
dry and
it's one of the
intense.
driest, darkest
So,
pilots
like,
ever.
just...
Is there even a moment of comic relief in the
Well,
pilot?
I mean, there's, the weird thing about that show, sometimes it's so funny. Sometimes
It's so dark that
I think it has a lot to do with how you feel when you're watching it. Like,
Right.
it's this show that sucks you in, and then you get to a point where you're like, I just can't watch this.
Yeah.
And I can't watch these people are in hell. They're in hell. I don't want to be in hell with them.
Yeah.
And then you can just almost pull yourself back and just, it's all fucking hilarious.
And then it becomes kind of comical.
And Jesse is an idiot, and
Right.
and the things people inadvertently say, things that are funny, that are darkly funny, and
Yeah.
so it's this weird thing where it's all about your perspective on it at the moment that you're watching it. One time you watch it and it's devastating. Another time you watch it and it's the craziest
Hilarious.
comic,
But your
black
character
comic.
from Word One
is
was
joking
clearly
and being,
comic relief.
Yes, I know.
Now, I do want to talk about your first shot. My understanding, maybe not have been the first shot, but it was the introduction scene for your character, middle of the desert, bag over the head.
Yeah.
Is that right?
No, that's not the first time you see them. No, they come in.
Then maybe it was.
They come in to talk to me
Right.
to try to get me to do it work for them, and I say no.
It might have been one of the first shots you did on the show.
It was definitely one of the first shots I did on the show. It was like in the first 3 days of shooting.
Okay,
whatever
good.
that I
Because in the
did.
dossier it said something about, you were telling a story about it. I thought maybe you could share a little bit of it here. Just the oddness of middle of the night. middle
Oh,
of the
well,
desert.
that has more to do with the whole career and show business thing of like, you get a call, you get invited to do this thing, it's very different, you work, prep for it. I mean, the whole experience was so different from anything I've done. And I was just going to say, you've done more drama than I have, but
This table has
comedy,
done more drama than you have.
that's right. Comedy is all staccato and short, usually very short. Yeah. You just have short lines and you go back and forth. In drama, you can have longer passages, you know, to memorize and to kind of deliver.
You can pause.
Yes, and you can pause and stuff, right? So I got the script and I thought, wow, well, they're going to cut this way, way down, you know. I mean, they're going to take, these speeches are just going to be like, that's not my name is this. And anyways, no, I don't want your business. I mean, it's just going to be real quick because that's, I don't know, I guess I was just boiling it down. And so I thought, I'll just memorize this when I get the blue pages, you know, when they get the rewrite. So it was like 5 days before and I got the blue pages. And like the day, Wednesday was Thursday. And that's it, one thing. But, you know, the thing is, then I started to really focus on the script and I really saw this character. I started to get, oh, this guy's he's a manipulator. He's always trying to win people over to some vision that he has and something that'll work in his favor. And so then I started seeing real logic and ideas behind all that dialogue. So anyhow, I get there, we're shooting, I go out, like our second or third day, we have the shot, and it's the shot where they're going to kill me, and they've dug a grave, and they're just trying to threaten me and get some information out of me or get me to take this job on.
Right.
And so they've dug this grave, and they've taken me out here in the middle of the night to the desert. So we're shooting in the middle of the desert, in the middle of the night, in a sandstorm. I mean, sand is whipping around into your eyes, into your mouth, and
it's comical.
And that's your job.
Right.
And it was such a great thing. I don't know, maybe it's because I have kids, and it's like, I'm so glad that my job is such a crazy thing sometimes, you know, and I get to do this. It's like an adventure. It's like the kind of thing you do in college or whatever, you know, where you have a crazy story of like, it was 3 a.m. and we were in the woods and I don't know how we got there, but yeah, you know,
in a weird way,
we didn't have shoes and we had to get back to town. And, you know, it's like that, like, how did I get out here?
Yeah.
At this age, at this place, doing this fake thing.
In the middle of this comedy career.
It was just so cool, man. It was so cool.
Yeah.
It made me very happy. And then, I guess, you know, I think that the revelation for the producers and people, it seems to me, I'm not in the room with them, but just the vibe I get is that, you know, the show Breaking Bad is so bleak that I think for some people it's actually, there is a point where they go, I don't know if I can watch this anymore, you know, I have to go to bed after this, you know. And so bringing a character like mine in, like, lightens it up a little bit, loosens it up a little bit, and just gives you a little breather from some of the tension. So so it stayed. So we carried on, and
it's interesting that I did get off on that tangent about Favreau and Iron Man.
By the way, I saw Favreau the other night. He's a crazy Breaking Bad fan.
Oh, excellent!
He was talking to me. He was a little drunk, but
still,
he was talking to me on and on about it, which was really neat that he likes it so much. And by the way, you know, Breaking Bad is when you start watching it, people get crazy. Yeah, they get into it.
It's heroin
in a crazy way.
It's heroin.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And why don't you ask him again? You should just call him again. I mean,
I need to.
He'll do your show.
I need to, because every time I run into him, he couldn't be sweeter. But the thing I mentioned was about the heart and humanity and humor, the 3 H's really, of why Iron Man worked in that genre that had been suffering without those three.
Yeah.
And it became approachable, and you could live in this world instead of feeling isolated or alienated by it, being a comic book or what have you.
Yeah, I think.
And so I feel that in Breaking Bad, that your character is that humor and humanity that we're a little more comfortable with, you know, in terms of storytelling. Mm-hmm. While the rest of it is as bleak and intense and
dry. It's very dry.
But also really fun, violent.
Yes.
If that's your cup of tea.
Yeah, I mean, I really think, and this is true of all the things we make, you know, a lot of times there are times I watch Breaking Bad and I'm incredibly entertained by it, and there are times when it's scaring the crap out of me. And I've read the scripts, obviously, but there are times when I'm like, is there a spoiler issue? Because the season played, but the thing with the train.
Yes.
And then what happens at the end of that?
Yes.
I I mean, I read that and I was like, oh, that's awful. But when I watched it, it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was just like, literally like,
Yeah.
fuck.
Why did
I
you
don't
do
know if I should have this in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so strong. It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
It's an awful thing that
Well,
happened there.
What I love about that, as a fan and viewer, in a religious way, it becomes kind of a thing where you keep Good Sunday if you're into it. DVR everything, and then there's just a handful of things now that I just got to see it when it's on live. I got to see it when it airs.
Yeah.
Very few. And for those moments like the one you mentioned at the end of the train episode, there's an overall sense of, in the movie version of this story,
Right.
shit gets out of hand, things go bad, and then people die or they go to prison, like at the end of Blow or at the end of Scarface, everybody's dead. Because it's the series, like I'm always annoyed, like the Batman 3, I think the most recent piece of shit Rising. The reason that
I didn't see it.
it doesn't work is that, and spoiler alert for you or anyone who hasn't seen it, first of all, he's in the suit like maybe 3 times the whole film.
Oh, come on.
For maybe a total of 9 minutes.
What?
Second of all, he goes through this dark...
I wear a Batman suit more than that.
I'm wearing one now.
Do pajamas count?
Yes.
Then I wear a Batman suit more than...
almost every night. But he goes into that prisonish thing, and you know he's coming out.
Yeah.
Stop with the 45 minutes of him in the prison.
Right.
We know he's getting out.
Right.
So why must you torture me? So in the TV version of the storytelling in the case of Breaking Bad, they're smart enough and cool enough and great enough to put people in jeopardy and then not fuck around and dick around with the series regulars.
Right.
But now as we're grinding towards the end, I've read in research on you, but also Brian and Aaron, everyone's saying, I don't know if I'm going to make it. Because they're talking about the movie, and Brian's going, I can't imagine I'm going to survive.
Vince Gilligan is the brains behind the show.
Yeah.
I mean,
Creator and genius.
And whenever I get a compliment on my work in the show, I always wish he was standing next to me, and as well as the writers, to hear it, because, I just do these great lines, and I just do this great character that they write, and all the things that I derive when I read the script from a monologue, and I go, I see what he's doing here. That's all thought about by somebody and cooked up by somebody else who's an amazing brain and an amazing writer. And so it's hard for me to almost hear compliments on it. It's like they're the reason I just do that. Any actor who did it you'd like.
Well, is it
because
possible
it's great.
that it's especially hard for you because you have written, created, and
It
directed
is.
so much of what you've done?
Yeah,
So it's especially hard.
So it's like all I'm doing is one part of it, and it's actually the funnest part of the whole effort.
Yeah.
This is the funnest. I
Playing the
hesitate to use the
sandbox.
word easiest, but in some ways it is the easiest.
Well, compared to writing and directing.
Yeah.
Wildly
It
easier.
just is.
Yeah.
And yet I get all these nice compliments, and really that's why it's good, is because of all that other work.
Right.
All that other really hard, way less fun work. That's why what I'm doing is
You're
good.
just a brilliant dialogue delivery system.
That's all you are, yeah. And you're playing, you get to have fun.
Yeah.
You get to have fun.
How
with
strange is that for you, though? By the way, I mean, you went through a phase, and we'll get to this, where as a storyteller and creator of stuff on TV and then film, having to be a director in film of other people's scripts.
I didn't do a great job, did I?
Well, I think it's inherent to the process where when you're used to having complete actual control, you understand the words because you wrote them and you've lived with them.
Right.
And you're now facilitating the vision.
Yeah, I didn't do that as well. And I really, after I did The Brothers Solomon, I really had to go, maybe this is not something I can do, is take somebody else's words and somebody else's work and make it better or great. Because every criticism that I read of Brothers Solomon and Let's Go to Prison, those in particular, I kind of agreed with. Almost everyone, except for people who slammed the actors. I think the actors in both those movies delivered huge. They played it straight throughout the movie. They kept this. They worked in the same world. The logic of their, the internal logic of the characters and the world that they worked in, they maintained, and they did amazing work. So, but the critiques of my delivery of those stories, I kind of felt like, yeah, I know, and it made me feel bad, and it really made me feel like, you know what, I just can't. I love directing. Yeah. It's wonderful. And as a person who's written and directed and acted and done everything, that it uses all your abilities. And that's just great. It's very rewarding. Yeah. But you got to connect to that material in a pretty strong way. Yeah. And I think that I tried to make some material that I didn't connect to strong enough. I think because afterwards I had all these scripts on my desk. Not that I would have been offered these directing jobs, but it was like, do you want to go out for these directing gigs? And I just thought, these are all in the same category of those other two. Some of them I like. Oh, yeah, I could think of that sequence would be fun to shoot. Or I know how to do that. One way you could do that is this, But there's a big difference between that, which is kind of a dilettante kind of, I could make that good or decent, or I could make this part better, and really having something to say and something to show people. Right. And I thought, I just shouldn't go near that job again until I have that. Right. And I won't. I don't need to. I can do other things, but.
Well, I wonder if when you start out as a writer.
Right.
You were a performer in sketches in Chicago.
Right.
And you're writing.
Writing and performing.
Right.
And then a writer on Saturday Night Live.
And then for a long period.
And Get a Life.
You're writing for Chris Elliott, Dennis Miller, Conan
Farley,
O'Brien.
Sandler.
But and then these other shows, people who had their own shows, where you've got a voice to write for.
Right.
So you've written for your own voice.
Right.
And you've written for other people's voices that you understand and can.
Right, but your own material, it's your own sketches, you're writing your own idea. Right. It's not the same as like taking
someone
else's movie script.
No,
one thing I got to say, Kevin, is I never, the possessory credit, a film by. Yeah. I've never taken that, right? And you can always take it. The DGA makes it so that any director, they can just have it. You have to reject it. You have to say no. You have to sign something that says, I don't want that. Right. And I did that on all 3 movies I made, Melvin Goes to Dinner, Let's Go to Prison, and Brother Solomon, because I felt like it's a collaboration, really. I didn't write these things. I'm trying to facilitate the writer's vision and work with the actors. I really wanted to be a team player on those things and only see them that way. And again, after Brother Solomon, I thought, not only do you need to connect with the material in a deep way, you have to take the responsibility, and you should get that credit. Right. Because you know what? That's your fucking job. Yeah. And you should treat it like this has got my name all over it. Right. And you shouldn't treat it like a team. It's not a team effort. No, I know other people are helping, but it all comes down to you as a director. And so I would take that if I did it again, but I'll only do it again if I really connect to the material and really feel like I have a strong idea of why I'm making it, what every scene means, what's the purpose of this thing. And so I changed my tune on that.
Well, I think you speak also to the nature of the show business train that is constantly moving and sometimes invites you to get on board.
Right.
And sometimes you're chasing the train.
Right.
Saying, wait.
Right.
And sometimes you're on the train and you can't wait for the next stop. And I have no idea why I came up with that analogy.
It's a good
one.
But
somebody write that down.
I like
perfect.
it.
But in the case of Mr. Show, you guys you created the show, you and Dave, and you have rules in the writer's room.
We're all over every second and every image. There's a reason why Jonathan Dayton Valerie Ferris directed, Peyton Reed directed, Troy Miller directed, a bunch of people directed the short films in the show, but they would mostly do it only for a season or half a season. Right. Because they had me and David going, no, not there, over there.
Yeah.
No,
it's not a director's medium.
It was just like, we were all over everything. Yeah. It was not a team effort in a way.
But that's TV.
Yeah.
It's quite well documented. It's not a director's medium. The show creators, Vince Gilligan, if he wants, is calling every shot on every set. So I wonder if that 4 years of master of your own universe,
Right.
and I do want to find out what it was like the first time you heard somebody say, you know, you got a little bit of a reputation of being kind of a perfectionist.
Well, being a dick.
Because I remember the first time Barbara Streisand responded to that same question.
Yeah.
You have a reputation for being a perfectionist. And maybe it was Barbara Walters or some stupid fucking interview.
She cried.
She cried and then said, I care too much? Is that what you're telling me?
Right. I know, that's how I can feel. And then, you know, here's the thing.
How could you not be a perfectionist if you created the thing and you want to... It's everything to you.
I know. I don't know. It's a tough call, you know, because you don't get a reputation as a perfectionist. You get a reputation as a dick.
Well, because you
that
keep
guy's
saying...
a dick because he won't let other people speak. He never lets other people sort of influence the work. That's what your reputation is. It's not as a perfectionist. I wish that was what it was, but I don't know how you navigating that thing of like, am I simply a perfectionist who's just trying to get the best work here and has the sense, you know, Steve Jobs' bio. Did you read that?
No.
Oh, it's great. That biography of Walter Isaacson's, I think. It's so great. But I mean, that was the whole rap with him. Is he a perfectionist or just an asshole?
Right.
But he kind of is both. I mean, he really had an inner sense of what needed to look and feel and be right. So he would come in and go, this edge is not what I was talking about. God damn it, Smash. Make it again. Oh, I told you it's a 30-degree angle, not 32 degrees.
Right.
You know, but he was right. I mean, my God, you know, and that was like Mr. Show, definitely. David and I could feel what was right. I mean, we made a few things that were weak on that show for sure, and I can tell you what they are.
Clumsy waiter?
But
we're talking
yes,
about clumsy waiter?
clumsy waiter. The one where it was a sketch I wanted to put a timer in the bottom so that you knew when the sketch ended. And no one would agree. That's what I gave in on that argument. I shouldn't have. It would be so much fun to watch that sketch with the timer going. Time till end of sketch. Yeah, so look, so I honestly, I went to these to make these movies, and you know, God, I don't know. Should I get personal? Look, my dad was kind of an asshole. He had a reputation.
It's weird because we have him in the chat room.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No,
his bones are rattling.
Yeah.
And after Mr. Show, and I knew I'd been kind of a tyrant in the editing room, and even kind of a jerk about my opinion and what was right. And I thought, you know, I'd really like to be a team player a little bit. And I really think I made those features that I made trying to be a team player. And I honestly, if there was a passage, and there's more than one, that I didn't like, but if one of the other people in the brain trust, the producers or whatever, said, I love that, that's my favorite, I left it in. Because I thought, you know, if they like it, well, good, let's shoot it well. But I think that maybe some people can do that. I don't think I can do it. And the only other thing I would say is you can be right and you don't have to be a dick about it. And I think maybe that's where I was like overcompensating for having a reputation as a difficult person. Was like maybe I was just kind of a jackass about my opinion. About delivering it, about saying it. You know, there's a difference between...
Well, did you have to raise your voice over a din of conversation?
No, everybody would listen to me, but I would, you know, you can be a jerk about telling someone they're wrong. That's not the joke. No, do you fucking get it? The joke, you know what I mean?
I see.
I mean,
that's a little
there's a Mr. Show sketch. I remember one incident. There's a Mr. Show sketch where it's called Crime Stoppers or something.
Uh-huh.
Do you know it? Oh, God, Kevin. It was based on this TV show.
Sure.
this guy, this Chicago detective, had this syndicated TV show. Do you remember this?
That's starting to ring bells. for
J.J.
sure.
Bittenbinder.
Yeah, bring this up, guys.
So funny. He had this big crazy mustache and this crazy hair, and he wore like a three-piece suit with a watch chain. And he was like, "I'm J.J. Bittenbinder, Chicago detective," and this is called Crime. It was a show called Crime Stoppers. It was this really cheeseball syndicated show where they reenacted crimes, and he like told you, you know, the crooks, they're looking out for you, so you look out for them. You know, it was this really childish, and so we did a sketch, and in the sketch, these crooks are climbing over a fence, and they start punching the security guy, and I just wanted him just keep punching him the same exact way over and over, and have him scream every time, ah, 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 and the director like had him punch 3 times and then do other things. And I was like, no, it's just the repetition of just over and over. And they didn't have it in the editing room. And it made me so mad because it's written into the script. And don't you get it? And it's like, yeah, but aren't 3 times enough? I mean, I don't understand.
3 of comedy. The 3
And I was
rule.
like, no.
It's
And I
funny.
go, you know what? Just loop that. Just loop that thing 3 times. So he punches 9 times. And it's so funny. But there's a difference between going, look, I did it, and I did all those things in a shitty way. I would be like,
and do you think
fucking get it? Repetitious. It's supposed to be it's the same, identical. Yeah, it's funny. It'll be funny. Do it 3 times. Come on, shut up.
Do you think it's
whatever.
possible that your years in the trenches as a writer on these other shows, where you were never in charge,
Right.
but in servitude,
Right.
that when you finally got the helm, something kicked in?
You know what I think? I think that if you know something because you're lucky enough to have an instinct for it, you can feel like annoyed that somebody makes you justify your choices.
Right.
Like, don't you get it? I'm good at this. This is the one thing I can do.
Right.
I don't know why I can do it. I don't know why I have a sense for this thing, but I do. And can't you just listen to me on that? Because that's the only thing in this world I can do. And
No, I hear you.
you know what I mean? It's like, I think that when I read that Steve Jobs thing, I get that sense of like when people have an instinct for something.
Right.
They want to, but I could have been a nicer guy. Anyways,
my
hopefully
point-
I'm learning to be a human being.
My point was that you put in all
As I
those
get
years
older.
in the trenches.
Yeah.
You paid your dues.
Yeah.
You guys got that show because HBO.
Because of everything we did before, and they knew us. And
Yeah.
Ben
And it
Stiller's
was
show,
kind of Ben Stiller's show, exactly. It was kind of hands off for you guys, right?
Totally.
Right.
HBO didn't say a thing, except the only thing they said was Chris Albrecht, before we made that show, said, you got to make something unique. You got to make something crazy.
Right.
Don't make anything that we could see anywhere else, which is awesome.
That's the greatest.
That's the greatest thing you can
marching
hear.
orders you could have.
Yeah.
Right. So at that point, once you go on that mission, tremendous amount of stress and pressure. I mean, I don't know why I'm trying to take
I
the
was pretty
noose
young.
from around your neck, but it seems to me anyone that got in the way of your and Dave's vision was going to get a little lashing because
You can be a good, nice person.
you were
about
too
it,
young.
I think.
You were too young
Maybe I'm wrong.
to be a nice person.
I don't know. Maybe you can. I mean, you hear all these stories of visionary directors or whatever, and they're tyrants. You hear it all the time.
What about all the geniuses that are socially inept and
Yeah.
constantly say the wrong
about
thing
that? Yeah.
all the time? What about them?
What about them? How about voting for them? Standing up for them.
Why can't they win
Yeah.
the election
give
this
them
time
something.
around?
Yeah.
Did you guys just pull up Take Back the Streets? Is that what I saw up there?
Oh.
Was that the name of the sketch?
Yes.
There's the punch. 3?
Yeah, but then you go wide. Yeah, we go back. Play
Yeah.
it again. I think there's more than that. Here, wait. Watch. Oh, then he screams.
We don't
again.
have sound in the room here.
I guess he did it only 4 or 5 times, but I couldn't get him to do it more than once or twice.
Right.
Whatever. I had to repay. If you watch, it's a
And in the sketch, as it's written, he punches him.
Yes, multiple times the same exact way. He
Because
shouts
it's a
the same
reenactment.
way.
You're trying to make a comedic point here.
Yes. Well, the joke was that the security guard was the hero because he yelped every time he got punched, and he gave away the ghost.
How many was that? 7. Now 7's funny.
7's funny.
Yeah. 3 is okay.
We did one thing too many times. The sketch, The Story of Everest, where he knocks over the thimbles. Did you ever see that? That's a great
That
sketch.
sounds familiar.
The Story of Everest. Anyways, there's a wall of thimbles, and a guy's telling a story about how he climbed Mount Everest, and
Right.
he slips and he hits the thimbles, and they fall on the floor. And then the family, he tries to proceed to tell the story again once they reset the thimble collection. They only want to hear the story about how he just knocked over the thimbles. They don't care anymore about how he climbed Mount Everest, which is a great comment on families.
Yes.
It's like, no, but Mom, seriously, I did this amazing thing. Yes, but tell him again about the cab ride. Tell him how nice the limo was. Tell us again about that. Oh. But so he, in the live sketch with the live audience, he knocks over the thimbles, and then we have to set them up every time. And there was like, I don't know, 150 of them. And the audience had to wait, and we did it more. When you watch the sketch, we did it one more time than you see in the sketch.
Okay.
And the last time we did it, the audience loved it.
Yeah.
They loved it. And the last time we did it, though, no laughs.
Crickets.
Crickets.
Yeah.
They're laughing. We get it. It's repetitious. Oh, my God, they got to reset it again. Oh, no, they're going to do it again. Then the last time I was like, wait a second.
You fuckers.
You bastards. You cannot keep going forever.
Do you know the story of the Craig T. Nelson and Barry Levinson were a comedy team?
Yes, I know that.
Okay.
But what,
in the coffee houses of the
yes,
late 60s.
Yes.
And I thought you would appreciate this. Barry told me that so when they performed at the coffee houses, they were mostly these musical duos, these acoustic duos
Right.
that they would go on during and between, before and after. They were very few comedians.
Uh-huh.
And all these musicians took themselves way too seriously. And their music was so important because it was fight the man and fuck the power.
Mm-hmm.
Or fight the power and fuck the man. So he said, you know what, let's do this bit where we go out with acoustic guitars because nobody knows who we are.
Right, right.
And we want to play our new song for you. We hope you enjoy it. And so this was their bit. They come out with acoustic. Now here's Barry and Steve. And they come out and they go, hi, this is our new song, hope you enjoy it. Bing, 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 ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 bing, 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 bing. They tuned their guitars for 9 minutes.
Oh.
And he said the first 3 minutes, the audience caught on pretty quick
Right.
and could not stop laughing. They couldn't believe that we were never going to sing the song.
Right.
And we were only going to tune our guitars.
Right, right.
For 3 minutes,
Right.
it was the greatest, funniest thing ever. And he said, and then the middle 3 minutes, they wanted to set us on fire.
Right, right.
But if they hung in there with us,
Then they
that
liked
last
it
3
again.
minutes,
Yeah.
they couldn't
Well,
believe
maybe
it.
if we'd kept knocking thimbles over for 4 hours, we would have
Brought them back
come
around.
back around. But I
Yeah.
don't know, man.
But-
that was a funny chill
Yeah.
by the audience. That was funny because I didn't expect it to go from this to nothing. And it really was
How
like,
dare you?
Yeah, it was really like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
You know, come on, you can't do this all night. And
Yeah.
so when you watch the sketch, that one's taken out. We didn't use that.
The seventh one?
The seventh one, or whatever it is. I think it is like the seventh.
Is it really?
Sixth or seventh one, yeah.
Wow. Let's give me, if you would, because we have this incredible dossier, you know. Oh, to finish up on the Breaking Bad thing.
Yeah,
Giancarlo Esposito.
I know, yeah.
2 things.
Have you worked with him?
We didn't have scenes together, but we're both in The Usual Suspects.
Oh, yeah.
He's great.
Jeez.
But
great movie.
he ends up, for my money, becoming the best villain in the history of television as Gus Fring.
Mm-hmm.
Apoyo Hermanos.
Yeah.
This speaks to the brilliance now of Vince Gilligan.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. If you watch this show and you're devoted to it, you know by the time Gus's season 4 comes along that whoever the bad guy is, he's going to be dead by the end of the season.
Right.
That's the way it goes.
Right.
So Vince Gilligan has this challenge, but by season 4 now everyone knows who watches the show that Gus is going to die by the end of the season.
Right.
He's the greatest villain ever.
Right.
But if you think and know he's going to die by the end, it kind of undercuts his power and his strength, which is a great comment on how brilliant Giancarlo Esposito was.
Mm-hmm.
Now Vince Gilligan has the challenge of all challenges and pulls it off like I've literally never experienced in fiction, to my memory. The audience knows Gus is going to die in this episode, and the way he dies has the same shock and awe and surprise that equals if you didn't know he was going to die.
Right.
That, as a
Right,
writing
right.
experiment,
He gets that
is
out
a
of you.
fucking
That
miracle.
reaction. Yeah.
Same exact response.
It is
as if you did
unbelievable.
not know he had to die. That's crazy.
Right. Right.
As an accomplishment.
I know. Well, here's the thing. Vince has done this great thing with this whole, the show ends at a certain point. We're not going to just, because everyone likes it, we're not going to keep going. Because he has this hard out and he can do these things that other shows can't do. Other shows would be like, really, you want to kill Gus? I
Yeah,
mean,
you can't.
He's providing us so much
Yeah,
tension.
the network would
and-
never go for that.
Yeah, I mean, let's just, and because Vince knows it ends, he can deliver consequences.
Right.
And he can,
That's why
he
you
can
guys
let things
fear-
have impact. The other thing about that, the incident that happens after the train thing is a lot of times when you watch violence on TV, and I know people can watch Breaking Bad with enough, perspective on it to just kind of go, oh, dude, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I know you can, but more than almost any other show, the violence on that show, it really impacts me. It really makes me go, oh, no, he didn't have to die. Or
Yeah.
you feel terrible.
Yeah.
Like really genuinely shitty about the violence and murders that happen. They're gross.
Yes.
And that's great.
Yeah.
It's great that it's not just,
That you actually care that much.
Yeah.
And can be effective.
and that you believe enough in that world that it feels impactful.
Also, the opening of every season, giving you images that don't pay off to the
I
end.
know.
Like
How do
the-
you get away with that? Because most people would have
The
no
teddy bear with
patience.
the floating
Right.
eye,
You'd
and
be
then
like,
the
"Fuck
guys
it,
in
that
the-
didn't help me.
and the
That didn't
protective
get me anywhere."
suits.
Yeah.
And then this year he's at some diner. We don't know what the
That's
fuck.
the only thing that ties it into one season is because that's the end of,
Right.
or the beginning of next season. I don't know.
Right.
But I don't know anything. And the end of the season, they black out stuff. So what happens at the very end of this last season?
You guys didn't know?
I didn't know. I knew something happened in that bathroom,
Right.
but I didn't know what. And so it was neat to find out.
Yeah. Are you just about fed up with all the talk of the spin-offs of Saul
No,
Goodman?
come on, it's funny. I mean, look, I think Vince is, if he says he's considering it, I
Oh,
believe
clearly
him.
he's considering
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I believe him.
If he's not
a
considering,
serious guy.
if he's not considering it, he's an evil guy.
Yeah, he's a
to tease you
he's a
like
serious
this.
guy.
Yeah.
And he has an idea for it. That's
Right.
kind of fun.
Right.
It's really fun, and I would do it in a second.
Yeah,
Of course. It's a great character. I'm incredibly lucky to be asked to do it at all, and it's a joy to, even though he's a sleazy guy and double dealer and all that stuff, it's really fun to play that guy. Really fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, but you know what it is, Kevin. It's like, first of all, Vince. I also believe Vince when he says he doesn't really know what happens. He knows where he wants to end up, but he doesn't really know what gets him from point A to point
What
B.
all the
exactly.
consequences
I mean, my character could die right away next year. That's why whenever they do contract negotiations, it's always like, how do you even know what you want me to do? You don't know what whatever.
Yeah.
I try to get him to pay me for as many as possible, and I know that maybe I'll do 2 shows.
Right.
I don't know, and Vince doesn't know.
Right.
And the way he plays that show, he's not fooling around.
No.
If he wants to, if Walter White should die, he'll die.
Yeah.
And he won't keep him alive so he can make a feature film.
No.
And
nobody wants him to. Brian doesn't
Yeah.
want him to. None of you guys.
yeah, so I don't know what'll happen, but it'd be fun to do. I'd do it.
Yeah, of course.
I think he'd have to move. I think that Saul would have to leave Albuquerque.
I like the idea of
Love Albuquerque, but I
love the
think he'd have
mayor
to
of-
leave.
I love the mayor of Vegas idea.
Hey, right?
I like that a
because
lot.
wouldn't Saul go?
Yes.
What's that guy's name? Walter. Who's the mayor of Vegas?
Well,
his wife now.
right. And but way back when was a guy named Goodman.
Really? Oscar.
Oscar Goodman.
Oscar Goodman.
Yeah.
Wait, isn't that the guy who just was the mayor? He was a mob lawyer.
Forever. Yes.
And now he
it's his
was
wife.
the mayor for 2 terms, but then because of term limits, he can't be the mayor again, and now his wife is the mayor.
Yeah. That's
Like
the
he doesn't
greatest.
know what's going on.
Yeah.
How's that run in the city going, honey? Well, I had fun doing it for 8 years. I hope good luck to you. Don't
Yeah.
tell me anything.
Or is it no? Don't do that. Do this.
Yeah. So I think Saul would be like, I'm going to Vegas. I could be mayor there. I'd totally be
fine.
accepted. So you're a big poker player.
Yes,
I
sir.
kind of knew that.
Yes, sir.
And you're in the
I mean,
championship
it's
right
currently
now?
running on ESPN. Is simply the
So
main.
could I watch it today when I go home?
Tuesday nights. I think it.
This Tuesday night?
It repeats during the week, but
Right.
a new episode. They cut the thing like
It's
a
the
reality
championship
series. The main event
this year.
The main event World Series of Poker.
It's called Main Event.
Yeah, of the World Series of Poker.
And
So we're on day 5 this coming Tuesday.
how many days is it?
I think it's a total of 7, and then the final 9, the last remaining 9 players over the final table.
How do you?
We'll go live
how
at the end of
do
October.
you sleep
You don't.
in the middle of one of those.
You don't.
things?
Without Advil PM, there's not a chance in hell. I'll tell you that.
You take that.
Yeah, I gotta knock myself out.
You got it.
Because you're replaying every
Yeah.
hand. Yeah, no,
Right.
it's-
Your brain is like
no off switch.
you can't
that
stop
point.
seeing cards.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I always wondered about like that. How do you get some sleep after a day of that? And
Well-
then having another day ahead of you.
13 hours, first of all.
You go 13 hours.
Yeah. You get breaks, little 20-minute breaks. Nice break for supper. But you're there 13 hours. And if you really want to know, it's the most intense focus I've ever experienced in my lazy-ass career. You know, I did it. The longest day I ever had was a 22-hour day one time on Usual Suspects.
Jeez.
And that'll be the second and last time I mention that film. 22 hours. That's a lot of hours.
Yeah.
But in terms of intensity, you know, it's like for just an actor, you're sitting on your ass in the trailer most of the time.
Yeah.
So when you're at the table, if you're not in the
always
hand,
on.
it doesn't matter. It's always an education to,
You're still
to
gotta
find out what
watch
the fuck
every
your
single
opponents
thing.
are doing, how they play every hand, dictates, tells, and information that you're constantly gathering. You never stop being focused on the exact moment. I've never
You know,
experienced
I
that
have
before.
I've been working on. I don't play poker much, but I have some tells.
Okay.
I videotaped myself last time we played, and I have this. I touch like my eyebrow here, and I sniff, and I mouth the words, "I'm going to win this one."
Did you
But
just
sometimes I vocalize.
Did you just pass off material as
I did.
conversation? It's one of the 10 Commandments of comedy.
I know.
As written
I
by
never do that. Dana Gould.
Lotus Weinstock. Do you remember her? She
No.
was a great soothsayer.
Did she say you should do that or shouldn't do it? I
One
don't
of the
like
10
when people
Commandments
do
is
that.
do not pass off
Yeah, I
material
don't
as
like it.
conversation.
No, but come on, you got to
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
that.
But that was beautiful.
So you take Advil PM.
That's the only way to knock myself out.
Right.
Because booze is just a little too strong.
Right.
You got to
Right.
wake
and
up.
you got to wake up tomorrow. And
You
be
do
able
have
to
to.
think
And the
again.
hangover is no good. Some people say they're groggy from the PMs. You're so wired in the moment you wake up that it is just literally a matter of knocking yourself out the night before.
Wow.
And I can't do the Ambien.
Do you know Brad Isaacs?
How do I know Brad Isaacs?
He's a writer. I think he wrote on Roseanne, and he was a poker player.
Uh-huh.
He may still be. He may be a poker
Overdosed
player.
on PM?
But like before he could get a job in TV, he would go to Vegas, work, play poker for a couple weeks, and save up his money, and then come back out here and get back into trying to get a job and stuff.
These
Like,
guys
just the
that
idea of making a living at it.
these professionals, you know, there's tournament play where you get a name for yourself.
Right.
And I knock out one of the top 10 players in the world live on camera.
Right.
I'm not going to say who, when, or how, but
Jeez.
it happens. Wow. And this guy is brilliant at reading. He's one of the best, arguably the best, which is why he's one of my favorite players, at reading a person's hand just by their actions. And
Really?
on camera, not this Tuesday, but the next one, I think it airs, he calls my hand. Perfect. I had pocket nines, and there's action, it comes around to me, and I make a move, fold, 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 I take the pot. And so when you take a pot like that, somebody questions whether you actually had a hand or not. There's always talk after the hand. So somebody said, ace jack, ace queen, what'd you have? And Negreanu, oh shit, I just said his name. Fuck. We'll edit that point. We don't edit. Daniel Negreanu said he had pocket nines. And I said, why'd you say nines? Why not eights or tens?
Yeah.
Why'd you say nines? He said, because you made that face. I can't believe I have to make this move with pocket nines before you made the move. And I promise you, if you watch it, I did not make a fucking face. I made no face. I mean, how did he read that? Crazy. And he wasn't just throwing darts when he said nines.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. Ridiculous. So the people who play at that level, tournament play versus cash play. Tournament play means if you have a bad beat or bad luck, you lose your chips and you're done.
Right.
In a cash game at somebody's house, you have a bad beat, bad luck, you just buy more chips.
Yeah, right.
That's the kind of poker I like. If you make mistakes or you suffer bad luck, you get to keep playing.
Yeah.
This tournament nonsense where if that happens, you just go home, fuck that. I'm really not a big fan. So you start to learn this weird connection to life, which is when your time's up, it's up. There's no justice. There's no fairness. I saw aces lose to sevens, aces lose to jacks. When we got to making the money on the bubble, they call it, they stopped down play because once that clock ticks to the exact number of players, 665, I think it was, because the tournament started with 6,598. Maybe it was 666. When they get down to 10%, everyone makes the minimum cash. So you get the $10,000 buy-in back plus another $10,000. So it's a big, big moment. And there's only 665 players left out of 600. So they stop, and the dealers stand, and they have to wait for all the hands to complete that round.
Right.
So they know what they're exactly
who's
at that.
out.
Right. So there were 5 hands going at the same time. And they only needed 3 of those hands to knock people out because they were all-in hands. 5 all-in hands. 5 of those hands, aces got beat 3 out of the 5. Just to tell you the microcosm of what bad luck is in that tournament. You got all your money in right. Every book that's ever written says you got pocket aces, you got to go.
Yeah.
You got to go now.
Yeah.
Well, So there's that was that weird connection. So I was thinking while I was there in that bizarre intensity of 13-hour days, how do you do this as a living? We talked earlier about playing in the sandbox as an actor, or having all the control as the creator of a TV show or the director of a movie. I thrive in the sandbox as an actor. It is the fun and easy job.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure it's an actual noble profession. To be honest with you, I really don't. If you ever hear an actor complain, do not stop slapping them would be my suggestion. So I started to think in terms of the intensity of those 13 hours. I thought, how is this someone's job?
Yeah.
It's literally your boss looking over your shoulder about to fire you, and you are getting fired and you're out of a job the moment bad luck comes your way for 13 hours a day. You can fucking have it.
Oh my God. Brutal. Hey, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Am I understanding this correctly? You got to get to a certain point, right? And
down to 666
so
players.
What if you just stall like crazy? You
I did.
hold up your games.
I did.
Because at some point you say there's 5 tables playing.
In this case, 670 tables to start with.
Because they're all getting down to how many players?
660.
But I mean, each table gets down.
Well, once a table gets down to like so many players, they will move you to another table and keep filling tables.
Right. So if you're the slowest guy in the world and you just stall as shit and you're not that good, but ultimately you played
Slower.
way slower than anyone else.
Yeah.
Because you said you had a medical condition. Because you said that you had a version of sleep, that sleep disease where,
Narcolepsy?
yeah, when you're around chips, you fall asleep. When you're around, and you can't help it.
It's the sound of the chips.
The sound of
shuffling.
the chips makes you fall asleep. And so you're constantly holding up your table for hours.
What if?
Then you aren't that good.
Yeah.
But you're sleeping through most of it.
I think
You're
we have
fake sleeping.
I think we have.
You're
the next,
only playing a few hands a day, 3 or 4. That's it.
Out of 13
All you
hours.
gotta do is survive through 3 or 4. then you make it to that 10,000 moment, and you've only played, like
He played 9 hands.
Yeah, whatever. 9 hands.
I did try to slow down several times, and there are rules about people will call clock on you. And then there was one point where it was an all-in situation for me. One of the ways I lasted was I did everything I could to avoid putting my chips at risk. So a lot of these guys, these young punks, young guns, can't wait to get their chips all in to double up, and get big stacks.
Right.
Me, I had tiny stack most of the way just to survive.
Right.
So I had to avoid putting them at risk.
Right.
So there was one moment where I knew I had this guy beat, but you never really know.
Yeah.
And I had to put all my chips at risk. And I waited and I waited and I took my time and I took forever. And I basically was the guy you're talking about. Only I wasn't doing it on purpose. And finally some guy called clock on me. And then a foreman comes by and says, "Sir, you have 60 seconds. When the 60 seconds stops, you'll get a warning. And then 5 seconds later, you'll have to fold the hand.
Wow.
You'll have to forfeit all the money you have in the pot. You'll just be done." And that's just tournament rule. And so sure enough, they called clock.
Wow.
And now the guy takes out the thing and he pushes the button and now 60 seconds counting back. And then at some point during that time, I decided I was definitely going to fold. And I said, fuck it, I'm going to wait till the last 3 seconds and then fold. I'm going to make this fucker pay for it. Make him pay. I got vindictive. Knowing that he was about to win.
But you made it. You made it to the...
But I made it to the money.
Nice.
And then I won't tell you how much further.
Yeah.
There's a indie rock band called the Soft Pack.
Yeah.
And you became aware of these guys how?
Oh, they played a benefit show for a music charity at Donick Carey's home last year. You know Donick, writer, TV writer? Oh, geez, I don't know. Lots of shows.
No, I don't. I know of. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
The actual.
Anyhow, I saw them there, and I liked their music, and I just said, let's make something. Next time you have an album out, I'll help you promote it by making something. So we made something last week. I wanted to share it with you and your audience.
Well, give us a little context.
We have
a clip to show. But
I wanted to do something where I could introduce the band to people who don't know them.
To the world.
Yeah, and we made a music video, of course, but also while we were doing it, we did an interview thing, and I wanted to do it in a fun way. And there's this great, historic, great rock moment, the bed-in that John Lennon and Yoko Ono do for peace.
Right.
And if you've ever seen the movie Imagine, one of my favorite documentaries, they show a clip from it. And this cartoonist journalist named Al Capp from that time period and comes in and interviews John Lennon and Yoko Ono. And he's just really surly. And
he's a dick.
Yeah, he's a dick. But it was very funny because you kind of know he's kind of playing a role of being an older generation dickhead, and Lennon and Yoko are playing the roles of the hippie movement of the time, and everybody's kind of self-aware that they're doing this. If you watch it, they kind of laugh a lot, and it almost wouldn't sustain if they didn't know if he was genuine, if Al Capp was genuine about being insulted by Yoko and John and what they were doing, if he really didn't understand what they were doing, he would have left or not gone there.
Right.
But he understands this thing that he's being a part of. Anyways, it's a great thing. You should watch it on YouTube. Al Capp versus John Lennon, and we reenacted it. It's me as a guy named Hal Clapp versus the Soft Pack. So
and
this is our
bed.
homage. They're in bed to promote their album.
Okay, let's show this little a snippet of that. Much
Let me
longer.
read this lyric for you. Bobby Brown, the name of the song. Bobby Brown. When you see a friend act a fool, have you ever seen that?
Seeing it right now, I think.
Oh, yeah. I'm seeing it right now.
A friend.
Wisecracks. When you see a friend act a fool, send your friend right back to school. So, you guys are big proponents of education, I guess. What schools did you go to?
University of Richmond.
University of Richmond in Virginia.
Yes, sir.
They've got to be mighty proud. The Alumni Association is going to sue us, get this taken off the internet. Where'd you go, Matt?
UC
The great
San Diego.
lyricist. Where?
UC San Diego.
Hippie school. Next.
San Diego State.
That's a hippie school as well. Next.
California Polytechnic
California
University.
School of Smoking Pot and Not Taking Showers.
How much fun?
So much fun to play that guy.
Yeah.
You know.
Did
that
you
attitude.
Did you sort of create the whole scenario and then?
Yeah, well, we're just, it's the simplest thing in the world. They're in bed and there's too much sunlight, and then I'm a sweaty guy in a suit who's full of...
And you said before we got started that they basically had no money, and you said, fuck it, don't worry about it. We'll just shoot this thing on a dime. And...
Yeah. It's fun to just make something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
the narcoleptic poker player. I'm going to hit you up when we walk out.
Oh, I want
to shoot that
anything
video.
with narcolepsy is funny to me. Brian Posehn used to do the guy who, when he lies, he falls asleep. So, whatever. How'd you do in the poker tournament? I did great. I made it to the finals. Posehn.
Yeah.
Great.
Love him.
Yeah, he's really funny.
What is the current status of Let's Do This?
Let's Do This didn't go. Great little piece I did for Adult Swim.
It was on their site for a while.
Yeah, they put it up on their site, which is nice because usually they throw out pilots that you make. They put it up and let people see it. It was really fun to do. Did you see it?
No.
Oh, I basically was doing a Robert Evans guy who's running a small studio in the Valley.
Yeah.
And making little
I
movies.
love the idea of the character.
It was a little too like...
Cal Mackenzie Goldberg.
Yes. Cal Mackenzie Goldberg.
Yeah.
In a studio in a strip mall between two dentists in the Valley. And he's doing, just trying to sell movies to whatever, Nigeria. And
let me ask you a question, because this is something you created and they ultimately gave back, are you free now to go and do
I could do it again, yeah.
a different version?
I could do it, yeah, sure. I could do it. I most recently did a pilot 2 weeks ago with a group called the Birthday Boys, a sketch group here in LA that we wrote and shot. So, in fact, tonight I'm going to go see a cut of that.
Well, that's exciting.
But that's for IFC, potentially.
Right.
But I mean, we'll see how it turns out.
Right.
But you know how it is with TV. You make it and
well,
it goes or
after your experience at AMC, a network was branded. This old, broken down place to go watch old movies
right.
is branded with these two shows, you guys and Mad Men.
I know.
And just leapt to the front of the pack.
Right.
And whether there's 1 million viewers a week or whatever the fuck the number ends up being, I don't care. We're just going to keep winning Emmys and keep doing the best shows. And so this idea of alternative comedy, where you and Dave and your friends came from, to now be doing alternative drama, how fucking wild is that?
I still don't really feel like I fully have taken it in.
Right.
I really don't. I don't know. I don't think of myself. I'm just. It's a crazy stroke of luck that I was included in that show, and it just doesn't. I don't feel like I identify myself as that. Even when we talked about the spinoff, it's like I think if I was an actor, I'd be like waiting for that to happen and like going, I think, that's what I'll do next. Or I don't even think about it at all. I mean, somebody brings it up, I go, yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
But I'm totally trying to get other projects going.
Yeah.
I love playing a guy like Hal Clapp, so maybe a show where I get to play characters and improvise in them. Yeah. Because I love doing that. I did Jeff Garland's movie this summer, and we improvised the movie. I mean, he had a structure, and he had characters and drives for every character. Right. But it was so much fun. You've done those, right? Have you done any Chris Guest, anything?
No,
I just anything like that?
Got a call from him. I'm going to do the HBO new series with Chris O'Dowd that he's...
You're doing that?
Yeah. Well, he's got a stable of people.
Dude.
And he's asked me to do one episode. They're only doing 8 episodes.
The most fun.
I can't wait.
I did one small thing in one of his movies. It didn't get included, but whatever.
Right.
And I've done Curb. Right. And I've done a lot of my own stuff like that. And it's the most fun way to work if you have a comic mind, because you get to invent this guy and you invent comedy and beats. Yeah. And it's really fun.
Well, after the reverence and I imagine crazy DVD sales, because this was back when DVDs sold like nuts for Mr. Show.
Right.
There must have been opportunities.
There still is. Yeah. I mean, this show I just did with the Birthday Boys, and you can look up their videos online. They're very funny guys. it all comes from having done Mr. Show and helping with Tim and Eric and
Right.
Ben Stiller's show. I just love sketch comedy. I've always done it, and I just always will do it. It's just
Even
something I do.
Tenacious D, you and Dave
Yeah,
basically wrote
yeah.
and executive produced.
Yeah, that was really fun, and I loved those shorts, and they were great.
In fact, your casting, I was going, on Mr. Show. Sarah Silverman, Jack Black, Paul F. Tompkins,
Yeah,
Brian Posehn you mentioned, Patton Oswalt was in some, Scott Ackerman,
yeah,
Mary Lynn.
yeah, all these people. Yeah, Mary Lynn went on in 24.
Yeah.
She was big. That was crazy.
So basically,
She went on
it was
to
a
do
matter
that.
of rating the talent pool at Largo.
It's true.
Is
It's
what
true.
you guys did.
There's an alternative scene here in LA.
Yeah.
And all these very talented people who you either know or you will know are working all the time doing live shows, and they're very talented. And we used a lot of them, and they went on to do more great things in comedy and other places. And I wish I could think of some others. There's lots of people who were associated with Mr. Show in the early years. Supposedly, John Hamm used to come see the shows
All the time.
and sit in the audience.
Yeah, no, he's been a sick fan of comedy forever.
And it's neat that we have done that, and I've done a lot of that, but that's part of just showbiz, the interconnectedness, the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon thing.
Yeah, I don't know why he needs 7 degrees. We've talked about it
2 degrees,
on
right?
this show. I only need 2.
Yeah, right?
I'll get you anywhere.
I know.
Where do you want to go?
Well,
Tell me
let's
who you
see,
want to go. I got someone to Charlie Chaplin. So I'll get you there. It's 2 handshakes. Those degrees are
Right.
basically a handshake.
All right, I'm going to give you Carrot Top.
Why
To
I
hold
bust
it.
my balls.
I want you to get me from Carrot Top
All right.
to Rip Taylor.
Well, it's called Las Vegas.
No, come on. I want to hear about the handshakes.
All right. Well, my crack research team out there with the internet will get me there in a heartbeat. I have to be a little more equipped with these people's careers.
Carrot Top to Rip Taylor. Shouldn't be too far. It's a couple miles.
It's not even a couple miles.
Somehow it's maybe harder than
we think.
Carrot Top to Brando.
Yeah,
You could probably do Carrot Top to Brando pretty quick.
probably. Yeah.
Let's do both of those.
Okay.
No, let's do Carrot Top to Rip Taylor to Brando.
Oh, that Rip
With
Taylor
you.
Brando
Is that
no
easy?
problem.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to guess it has something to do with the movie. What movie was Rip Taylor in? That great movie. He's in a really great movie. He's in a real estate office.
Oh, right. What is that?
What movie is that? So it's top notch. Is it an Alexander Payne film? No.
Real estate office?
I think he works in a real estate office in the movie, his character.
Get to work out there.
All right, guys, get to work.
Damn it.
Make the internet sweat.
Let's talk briefly
Get off the porn.
about SNL.
Okay.
Because like exiting the firm, my question is, how do you leave that gig alive?
People talk about Saturday Night Live a lot. It's an interesting place. It's a hot box of talent.
But it's
whatever.
also
It's the
a
trenches.
petri dish of competitiveness designed by the overlord
Yes.
or overlorn, who I've had many friends have been through there.
Yeah.
And people sat at this table and talked about it. This necessity to grind your supposedly all players on the same team
Yeah.
into this competition to get their shit on the show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um,
I don't know. I have a different perspective on that than when I left there. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it has.
I worked there from 1987 to 91. I worked with Jan Hooks and Nora Dunn
Dana
and
Carvey.
Dennis Miller, and then I worked through Carvey, and I worked with Sandler and Farley and Spade.
Right.
And really, the show's never left my life. I mean, Fred Armisen was a guy I used on a pilot I did for Fox called Next, and I think the tapes he did there helped him get Saturday Night Live. And my wife is a manager, and she manages, Kristen Wiig and Bill Hader and Bobby Moynihan, and the 2 new people who just got hired today
Wow.
are her clients. So it's always been a part of my life. I go to the closing show every year. Since my wife has managed these wonderful talents, I've been able to be a part of the show sort of again and go see it.
Yeah.
I have a very different perspective on it now for a couple of reasons. One, I think the vibe there changed in the last 10 years.
Good.
Just the number of people there, and the number of people who've been through it, and I think that the magic of it is still there as a job to do. It's still a really fun job that people are excited to have the opportunity for. But when I went there, there was still this kind of notion that if you get on there, you're a movie star.
Right.
And people have now realized, like, that's just not true. It's part of your career. You might get to be a movie star. You might not get to work again.
Right.
And so just enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Learn something.
Learn something. Enjoy it for what it is. Help each other a little. I think there's a better spirit there than there was when I was there and before I was there.
Right.
When I first got there and I heard the stories of cast members who won't set foot on the floor. Why? They won't walk they won't walk on the floors here on this floor? Yeah, they don't. There's too many ghosts, too many demons or whatever. Really? What's the problem? And so I think that just the vibe there has changed, and I think it might just be my perspective on it from an arm's length.
Well, you would know.
But it just seems like people are friendlier there and kinder to each other. And it's a little less...
That's good to hear.
Yeah. And then the other thing is I just have more sympathy for what Lorne Michaels has to do every week. I mean, he has to mount the show every goddamn week for a good number of weeks in the year, like 22 weeks.
Far be it for me to
it's
question a system that changed the face of television.
Right.
I mean,
it's a tough job.
it seems impossible.
And I think think about doing that for how many years has he done it? 25 years?
Oh, it's more than 35.
But he skipped 5 years. He took 5 years off.
Right. So the show came on in 75, I think.
And he got 5 years off.
All right, so that's 80 to now is 32.
And yeah, I mean,
Crazy.
It just beats you up.
Yeah.
So I don't know, some of that stuff that when I was there and I thought, somebody should be helping more and sort of overseeing this a little more and giving people a sense of where we're going and all that stuff. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a tough thing to run, and I think that the other thing is nobody has come near that show. I think Mr. Show did some things great for 5 years. In this small group of people, we were able to perfect our stuff and learn our lines and all that because we had more time for rehearsal than they do, a lot more time. And but they please a huge audience over this long term, and there's a level of quality to Saturday Night Live that it's just always a certain level of quality, and that comes from Lorne. That's Lorne's sensibility that gets you Kristen Wiig mixed with, over the course of this history, Kristen, Sandler, Farley,
Hader.
Phil Hartman, Hader. And some of these people are very sensitive performers. They're very finely tuned performers. I mean, Fred Armisen is not a guy who could go up in a bar and make a bunch of drunks, howl.
Right.
He is doing very small things, and he's doing them very well. And only, thank God, a guy like Lorne Michaels with his sensitivity and sensibility, which is great. I mean, he hires great writers. He hires great talent. That's where his hand is in play and really making a show that has a level of quality over such a long time.
It's great
So
to
I
hear
don't know.
this-
I've developed a lot of
It's
respect
great to hear
for him.
this perspective, to be honest with you, because I've only heard the other side.
I think the other side of it is people who go there are young. It's their first job.
Right.
They're going to be intimidated by anything they get.
Right.
If they show up and there's a person holding their hand through everything, they're still going to be quaking in their boots.
Yeah.
But you go there and nobody says much to you. And so it only amplifies your insecurity. And that's where people, I think, feel like, really? You couldn't have helped me out you just made me feel like I belonged, or like it almost feels like someone's taking advantage of you a little bit. Like, where my head's at. I'm new here.
But when you add the perspective of how do you launch that historical juggernaut live every week? Let's just stop.
Hey, look, how about this? Every week, we see the air show. Imagine you have to watch the dress show and make it better
In 4 minutes.
in 4 minutes. Like that to me is like, that's the work that somebody has to show up for, and he does, Lorne does. And that's tough work, man. That's a lot of pressure too on you.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whatever. I've
We have-
really changed my tune on him.
No, honestly, it
And
is
what he
great to hear
does.
this perspective from someone that was in the trenches and also has had an affiliation with the show some 20, 25 years after.
Yeah.
We invite the audience to engage live.
All right.
We have some questions.
Mistake.
Big mistake. Always ask.
Yeah, you make it every week.
Yeah, I do. And we asked them to put together some questions for you. This first one, a lot of these are from Twitter, is from @LittlePegAMckay. Bob, I know you're influenced by Monty Python, which
Yeah.
I had in the dossier that
Yeah.
we did not get to, so thank you for this, Little Peg A. McKay. Who was your favorite Python and why?
Wow. Wow, that is really, really hard.
You don't have to have a favorite. You can have a couple favorites.
Yeah, I'm gonna have two favorites. I'm gonna go with Graham Chapman and
Yeah, see? Now you're fucked.
three.
Palin.
I'm gonna have Eric Idle,
Nice.
and then I'm gonna have Graham Chapman, and I'm gonna have Palin.
Yeah.
And I know Cleese is the one.
He's knocking on your
and
door
Terry
saying-
Jones is great, amazing.
I know that's
But
the problem.
here's why.
Please.
Graham Chapman is incredibly silly.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
I just love that gawky, super silly guy. Cleese is really skilled. You know what I mean? Like he's in total command of what he's doing.
Even of his silliness.
Yeah. But there's something a little more sweet and almost amateur hour about Chapman that he's like making himself happy while he's doing it. Right. And then Eric Idle, because he did all those great, again, very silly solo things. He did a lot of solo-ish type work on Python.
Yeah.
That was great. And Palin is just very likable.
Yeah.
I mean, Michael Palin's incredibly likable.
And utility player. Too.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the Phil Hartman of the.
Yeah, right. So there you go.
Nicely
that,
done,
that
sir.
didn't help. I can't pick one.
Yep. Now, these are a series of 5 questions designed specifically for you. They'll be Coke or Pepsi, no correct answer, kind of rapid fire. They're called Tweet 5.
What do I
T5, T5, T5 forever now.
That's what Dave Keckner did when we asked him to participate. We made a graphic out of it.
Also,
All right.
one of the funniest guys alive.
Oh boy, is he crazy?
God,
Crazy
kills
funny.
me.
Yeah.
Kills me.
This is from @Adam Flowers. Ready?
Yeah.
Cubs or Sox?
Cubs.
Phil Hartman, Dana Carvey.
Dana.
These are all Sophie's choice, by the way. Tim or Eric? See, you're fucked.
Oh,
You're fucked.
come on.
Martin or Lewis?
It's so hard. Martin.
We should have a ding ding when he gets
It's
these.
impossible. Have that guy come around and tell me 60 seconds and we take your money away.
SNL or Ben Stiller show? See?
Go with SNL.
Yeah. These are fun, no correct answer. I just like to see the guests
Look, we had fun on
tortured.
the Ben Stiller show, but it was like all over the map, and
Yeah.
we were kind of indulgent. But that can be great. Indulgence can be great. I mean,
Wildly experimental
yeah,
and super indulgent.
yeah.
Which is perfect.
Which can be awesome
Yeah.
when you get to see somebody go all the way, you know, just all the way into their craziness. I think it's one of the reasons Adult Swim is so fun.
Yeah.
Those are visionary people just committing and being allowed to commit, being allowed to just do the craziest thing as hard as they can.
Right.
And not take it back. You know, so much of TV is like, I like your idea, but what if people don't like your idea? How can
Add
we
water.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What about the people who don't like this thing that you're pitching?
How do we get them?
What about them? Fuck them.
Yeah.
So don't do it
It's
then.
not for them.
Then they won't watch it.
Right.
Instead of like, how can we take this thing that you're doing really well and make it so that people who don't like it, and put the opposite of it into it, right?
Yeah. And forget that we might piss off the loyal fans.
Right, now you got nothing, don't you see?
Yeah.
Don't you see? That's what you end up with.
You see, yeah.
You end up with nothing.
I've said often on the show, but they have a savant ability to find the apex of why it's funny and unique, and then add water to that point. But it's a savant ability to find it, find the chi.
Right. So you do know what I'm doing right, because you're trying to get rid of it.
That's exactly right. That thing you're doing brilliantly, stop it.
Let's take some of that out.
Yeah. We need to surgically remove 40%.
But how about that? When you think of a show like Breaking Bad, which is, again, vision,
all balls,
pure, boom, all the way, commitment. Can network TV do that? Because they want to try. I mean, Vegas, I haven't seen it, but that's right. That's kind of a Breaking Bad type. Aren't they trying to do that? Can network TV do that?
They can't for the very reasons we just gave.
Yeah.
They need a bigger number.
Yeah.
And because of that, they have guidelines on how to reach that bigger number. And the show like Mad Men or Breaking Bad will never reach the masses.
Right.
It's just too damn particular.
Right, right. Thank God for cable, huh?
Right?
It's great.
Wait, there's another T5 here I wanted to get to. Okay.
T5.
Thank you.
T5.
One more time.
T5 forever now.
Forever now, you're saying? Okay. This from @RussellHannah, SNL Mr. Show.
Mr. Show.
Bluetooth bad suits. See, they know you. Laundering through the website or the car wash.
Oh, website. Come on.
Writing or acting. Yeah, you're fucked.
Wish I was better at writing, but acting's more fun. I don't know.
Walter Heisenberg.
Walt or Heisenberg? I'm going to go with Heisenberg. I want to watch that craziness.
If you watch this last half a season, there's no
Walt
difference.
Yeah, well, yeah. They're the same. Yeah. No, it's true. And that, again, there's something that, because he's only doing this number, he can allow the character to just
actually
evolve.
Yeah.
And
that's the beauty.
And you see these moments in this last season where in previous seasons there'd be a tug of war of like,
should I or shouldn't I
do the right thing? Now he's like, fuck the right thing. I'm just gonna do what I want.
Right.
I'm just gonna take what I want.
Yeah. Yeah. The end of season
4
is
the end of
with the pernicious weed or whatever that weed was.
Yes, that's where it's like
done.
He's done.
Yeah.
He's done.
No more Walter.
Having a battle inside his soul.
Yeah.
Over whether he should be.
Holy crap! We scratched the surface. You're going to have to come back.
All right.
You're going to have to be our first return guest.
I apologize.
You son of a bitch.
Everyone on the internet.
No, please. By the way, does it feel like we've been talking for 95 minutes?
No.
It's only been 42.
Oh, well, there you go.
No, it's been 95.
I have a good sense of time.
I want you to gear up for your Larry King game, sir. I'll go over the
I
rules
wanna-
again.
All right.
Bad Larry King impression. You're there.
Done.
He shares a thing about...
Now, wait, I make this up or somebody writes this for me?
No, this is you make up.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah. So give us that little moment that Larry shares something about himself before he goes to the phone. A little bumper.
Right.
And then, by the way, it can be about anything.
Right.
Him, current.
Okay. And it's just anything.
And then go to the city. I need a funny sounding city when you go to the phone. Schenectady would be the prototype. You know what I mean?
Schenectady.
So he shares something and then says, Schenectady, hello. That's
Okay. Okay, ready?
Oh, boy.
Chlamydia. I had no idea that men could get a version of this famous woman's disease. Kevin Pollak shared it with me. Schenectady, you're on. What did he share with me? The disease or the information?
Knowledge.
The knowledge.
I just gave you the knowledge. That's beautiful.
Also like saying chlamydia in Larry King's.
Clearly, as Larry King.
You do one with chlamydia, starting with the word chlamydia.
Right now?
It has to start with the word chlamydia.
Okay. Chlamydia. That's what you told me her name was. She seemed like a regular gal. We met at a saloon just outside of Wyoming. Hoboken.
Do you remember Larry's columns?
King's Things.
King's
on the
Things?
USA Today. The worst. Oreos. Can you believe it? What is that? How is that even an opinion?
How do you edit that? How did Larry?
Larry, you can.
Listen, we got to cut 10 of your things this week's column.
No one cares.
I don't really know which to lose because it's
they're all horrible.
Have you been, by the way, let's say do something nice for Larry King. Have you been to his little restaurant?
Which
The
one?
bagel place
Oh,
on Beverly?
No, I haven't.
Good bagels.
Should we go for the bagel? Someone just said the other night at the poker game, what's the best
I
bagel
think
in
it's
LA?
called like Brooklyn Bagel or...
I've seen the little tiny poster on
It's
the
great.
way in from way back from LAX.
Yeah, the bagels are great.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Where is it, on Beverly?
It's on South Beverly Drive. Yeah,
All right, let's go
great.
now.
Yeah.
You got a
All right.
thing you got to go to.
Yeah, I got a thing called family.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing this time with us.
Oh, hey,
Honestly
great
and
to be here,
truly.
man. Great to have a in-depth conversation.
Please. You
Really
know,
cool.
the part we didn't get to, so I just need 2 minutes. 2 minutes, because you've had
I'll be
such
quick.
a history with this guy,
All right.
Robert Smigel.
Yes.
Very few have gone through what you have in the trenches, starting in
We
Chicago.
were roommates, yeah.
In Chicago.
In Chicago, yeah.
Right. So,
He does Triumph the Insult Comic Dog, if you don't know, and he's one of the great, great comedy writers of
if you
our
don't know
time.
Smigel, you should go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Let's just start there.
Yeah. Wrote the Star Trek sketch, Go Get a Life. He wrote, oh my God,
Historical stuff.
the Bears guys. He wrote
Conan's guy for years now.
he wrote amazing, just so many amazing sketches. I mean, forget the running sketches.
Like
which
the
he wrote.
Bears.
Yeah, like the Bears sketch. Forget that.
Right.
He wrote great in-one comedy idea sketches.
What I like is that you said, writing with him, he taught you how to find the heart of the joke.
The core joke.
The core joke.
Yeah,
the core
that's-
joke
that's
of
what
the
he would
sketch.
the term he used, and I never. Yeah, sketches a lot of times, sometimes to their detriment, but the nature of a sketch is to have some sort of observation or exaggeration, whatever, that you riff on. You just riff on that, and he was just able to talk about what that was, because sometimes you're not really sure what it is you're doing, and that's where you know, when you're working with young comedy writers, they aren't real sure. They got like sort of, it's almost like a kitchen sink of ideas, and you go, that's the joke right there. Like if you take a Mr. Show sketch that my daughter mentioned to me the other day, was it Titanica? The one where the kid jumped in the acid and he's burned up to his neck and he's in the hospital bed.
Right.
And the band comes to see him.
Right.
So Brian Posehn had written that, and it was kind of an awful thing because it was like just real. The way he'd written it was like they come to see him and he's like dying, and it wasn't funny and no one laughed. And after we read it, I was like, so how can this be funny? And all the writers looked at me like, asshole, it's not fucking funny. Don't make us talk about this. I was like, well, come on. You know, Brian's funny. He wrote this. What could be funny about this? And the first hurdle to get over was a person who's in horrible pain and burned. You know, I said, well, let's make it a puppet body. It'll be a funny body to see. Have you seen that sketch?
Visually.
It's hilarious.
It's historical.
But also, I said, look in here, like 2 times in the sketch. This is a kid who's dying, right? And he's like, yay, my heroes came to visit me.
Yeah.
Like Brian had written that in. I go, that's the sketch. This kid is going to fucking die, and he's happy that this dumb heavy metal band is here because he did that.
Right.
So that's his attitude through the whole sketch. That's the core joke,
Right.
is that
He's super happy.
he's got this insane glee
Right.
that no one would have.
Right.
The most you would get out of any real person would be like, oh, okay. All right, thanks, yeah. You would never get, woo, I'm the luckiest guy in the world.
And he's got a little puppet dangling
You
body.
know, yeah.
Burn.
So you know what I mean? That's what Smigel taught me.
Right.
And but I learned from Franken,
Right.
Jim Downey. Senator, I can't believe I look and see Al Franken, the senator. You know what's the greatest thing about that? Did you know Al?
I met him, and, you know, not like you know.
You know, ego and a difficult guy.
Sure.
Sometimes.
Sure.
You know, and I just know as a senator he has to mind his P's and Q's
Right.
all the time. It's so funny to watch this guy that's trying to stay buttoned down.
Right.
But I also think he's a great senator. I
think
really like him. He's got somewhere to channel all that crazy energy.
2018, he runs for president?
Yeah. Oh no.
No?
I think he stays senator. I think he loves that job and actually loves everything he says is true.
But what a
loves
great
the people
world we would live in
that he works
if
for.
the Al Franken
Was president,
became president of the
and
United
then he'd
States.
wrestle other world leaders when he saw them. Oh, let's wrestle. That was Al with every new writer. You wrestle? I used to wrestle. Let's wrestle. And he'd wrestle you and win because he was built like a fire plug.
Did he wrestle Smigel?
I don't know. He wrestled me. So he also threw a football at my head. Think I forget, Senator?
Senator, I think
Right.
this committee owes my client an apology.
But I love him. I love him.
Yeah, how can you not?
Yeah.
He's
Smart guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you mentioned the part about had an ego and a point of view
Yeah.
and stuck to what he thought was funny in his instinct.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So?
Yeah. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Great writing. Yeah.
That's what the great genius writers do.
True. Truly.
All right, you sit there uncomfortably while I wrap this thing
All
up
right, man.
for the fine
Rock and
folks
roll.
at home and around the world. I want to thank, of course, our guest, Bob Odenkirk. Tune in a year from now for the final 8 episodes of Breaking Bad. And
do
we'll
this after
see
that.
what happens to the great Saul Goodman. Should he survive? Should he somehow
Yeah.
make it out alive into a new Vince Gilligan world? I want to thank Dr. Chen and Jamie here in the studio. Our love to Sam Levine there in the Philadelphia, where he's
Hey, Sam.
allegedly earning a living. And the 3 J's, Jason, Josh, and Justin out there running the shuttle from outside the studio. Samantha Ward on the fabulous makeup, trying to make us look younger.
Sweet.
Elaine Ewing on the social media, who stopped by. She's going to say hello to you, sir.
Oh,
because
good.
She's visited the show out of 154 shows, only 3 other times. I'm just saying it's a big deal.
Really? That's
Yep.
fantastic.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, right? Yeah.
So what does she do?
We're gonna-
She
she-
tweets and Twitters?
You're on the Twitter.
I am.
Are
I
you
do
not?
it once every 2 weeks.
No, her and Josh actually do some post work on this to get it to Hulu. They have to do all kinds
Oh, yeah,
of
yeah.
metadata
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and,
yeah,
and
yeah.
editing and what have you. But she's also, the outreach program with the social media.
Very
We
nice.
launched this thing on Twitter. So to maintain that world.
I don't understand. It played on Twitter? You watched it on Twitter?
No, the only place I marketed it was announcing it on
Oh,
Twitter.
that's it. That's
Yeah.
the only way.
Yeah, when I started, I said to the guy who owns the building and the company, I said, I got to hire a publicist. Because when you come from traditional media,
Right.
which is what you find out new media calls show business,
Right.
traditional media,
Right.
you get a publicist.
Yeah.
You spend $3-4 or more, and
Right.
and you get the machine fired up.
Right.
Nope. Announce it on Twitter. That's it. Let it find its own way.
Yeah.
And that was startling to me.
Yeah.
And 3.5
And you
years
felt
later,
you doubted it, right?
couldn't believe it was possible. Yeah. And within 6 weeks, we made the cover of the LA Times. Without a publicist and nothing, nobody. Just
Unreal.
you put it out there. Crazy. We celebrated still. You still see how
Fantastic.
excited I am to even talk about it.
Fantastic.
3.5 years later.
great.
And Elaine Ewing is the reason now that it
brains.
all gets out there.
Good.
There, if that doesn't shut her up, I don't know what will. All right, next week, Tom Everett Scott. We worked together in a little thing Tom Hanks called That Thing You Do,
Which is a perfect movie.
which is a flawless film.
I love that movie.
Give me the name of the group in the film. Shrimp Shooter
Captain Geach and the Shrimp Shack Shooters.
Shrimp Shack
That was
Shooters.
that was whenever they were in a
Film,
film.
like a Frankie Avalon, type of thing. Jen, you all right? Okay, everything worked out. Okay, that's how we leave you. Until next week, check the calendar. We have some future shows. Tony La Russa, for your baseball fans out there, just locked up October.
Wow.
Matt Walsh, boy,
Wow.
he's a funny fucker.
Yeah.
Love him crazy.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of shows coming up. And
If anyone can get me to G.W. Bailey, I would
would-
like to have.
Who?
G.W. Bailey.
He was Captain Harris in the Police Academy films,
Oh, yeah.
but he is now the lead in he was on The Closer, and now he's the lead in the spin-off of The Closer.
Right.
Wow.
Of course.
So, but I, of course, want to talk Police Academy
Yeah.
incessantly.
G.W. Bailey. Write to us at contact@kevinpauluschatter.com and tell us how we get there. Let us be 2 handshakes away from G.W. Bailey. Thanks to you, you sons of bitches. All right, that's it for this time. We'll see you next time. Please write to us. Let us know how you do the show, or ask Kevin, or try to win the Larry King game. We'd love to hear from you. at contact@kevinpolishchowcher.com. Until next time, and as always, get out of my face.